Hello everyone, I am your humble dungeon master, DM Havok, and welcome to Rules Talk Q&A. This is a weekly episodic in which I take viewer questions, player questions, new DM, new player questions, things like that, and answer them in this format. This is a learning experience, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So, the first couple of questions come from anonymous sources on Facebook, messaged directly to me. They did not wish to be named. So, the first question is, what game should I play? Well, this kind of comes down to what level of roleplay are you as a new player comfortable with. There are many games, and some of them are complicated, some not so much. It's my experience that new players should come in and play D&D. That way they get a feel for roleplay. If they're not, if they don't want to learn all the dice rolls, all the rules, and all that, to start with something like GURPS, because the dice rolls are simple. But I feel that D&D is, especially something like 5th edition, is simple enough to where new players can easily just drop right in without too much of a learning curve. If you want a more sci-fi genre, go with something like I hate to say it, but go with something complicated if you're gonna start with sci-fi. Something like Shadowrun, while it's an entirely flawed system, and some of the dice rolling is a little overly complicated because it relies all on D6s, it's a good place to start because it shows you the complexity of role-playing. But again, it goes to what you as the new player wants to play. What you feel comfortable with. The next question, same asker. What sort of character should I play? Well, again, that goes to comfort and desire, essentially. The best way to figure out what sort of character you should play is to take one of your favorite characters out of literary fiction and emulate that character. So, say you're a new player at the table and you want to play Gandalf. Well, that's okay. That's simple enough. Gandalf's a high-level wizard who has really good spells loaded up in his spell slots, but only casts a few times. So by wanting to play Gandalf, you would basically figure out, what his class and race is. He's obviously human. And he's obviously wizard, or at least some sort of arcane. I say wizard because it's the easiest and most accessible to new players. But say you wanted to play a fighter type, someone like I really gotta lock these fucking doors. Anyway, say you wanted to play a fighter type. Let's take it again from Lord of the Rings. Gimli, I believe. Short dwarf. Obviously dwarf. Obviously a fighter type. But is he a fighter or a barbarian? And these are something you can discuss with your DM. Say you want to go beyond that. Say you're familiar with Bob Salvatore's novels, following Drizzt Do'Urden, or Drizzt, as some people pronounce it. Simple enough. Drizzt is a drow, and he's a rogue. Plain and simple. So then you would figure out, okay, what are his stats? Any character I play, what are the stats? Well, if you're on a point buy, you can put the stats wherever you want. I myself, I'm not a huge fan of point buy. It encourages min-maxing, which I will get into in a future video. Let's just say for now that min-maxing is annoying. It's annoying to the DM, and it's annoying to the game itself. Say you're playing something like Shadowrun, and you just watched Johnny Mnemonic, and that's the kind of character you want to play. Well, again, figure out race, class, stats. Class is a different thing in Shadowrun. You really don't have set classes, but you have archetypes, things that you build your character to emulate, so to speak. But, well, that's about it. The third question is, what characters should newbies avoid? Okay, well, this is kind of where I was going to go with the last question. New players should avoid anything that's overly complicated. If you want to be a spell slinger, go with wizard, plain and simple. If you want to swing your hammer, go with fighter. That's it. If you want to steal things or be super dexterous, go with rogue. Plain and simple. Pardon me. This is because these classes don't have much complexity to them, so to speak. In the case of magic users, if you look at a wizard, what do they have for spells? They have a spell book, and if they want to learn a new spell, if it's within their accessible spell levels, they either get it from their spell book, or they go and learn it from someone who can teach them that spell, or they pick up a scroll and attempt to scribe it, which doesn't always work, but hey, because there's risk involved in everything in D&D, or at least there should be. Playing something like a sorcerer, or better yet, a warlock. Playing a warlock is much different than playing a wizard. While a wizard has a spell book, a warlock has an artifact that is a spell focus or a tome. And the warlock uses this to contact their whatever spirit or entity they made the deal with, which is what creates a warlock. And the spell comes from that entity through the spell focus and out. But with a wizard, I cast Burning Hands, and but with a warlock, for the most part, warlock spells are rituals. So you have to take your spell components, you have to put them, however you put them, you have to read the incantation, things like that. It's very complicated and can easily I want to say, I don't want to say dissuade people, new players, from playing those kind of classes, but it's overly complicated for someone who's not familiar with the system. See, I come from the days of AD&D, where you only had four classes, a couple of subclasses to each, but still, you know, it's like, if you wanted to be a rogue, you were either a thief or a bard. If you wanted to be a fighter, you were either a fighter, a barbarian. If you wanted to be a priest class, you were either a paladin, whatever that is, or a cleric, you know, so on and so forth. Clerics and paladins are another thing that that noobs should avoid. Paladins especially, simply because paladins have to stick to an alignment, and that alignment is lawful good. And lawful good is a bitch to play for a new player. Simply because the rules are extremely strict. So, my advice to a new player trying to figure out, you know, what class should I play? Or what character should I play in general? Go with something simple, obviously. Stick with something that doesn't have a whole lot of steps to what they do. Something that doesn't have very strict alignment rules. And in the case of, you know, I want to play such and such from, you know, Lord of the Rings, or such and such from Dragonlance, that's fine. That is discussed with your DM, but keep in mind that you want to play like the character. You don't want to play the character itself. Of course. So, anyway, that was, this has been DM Havok with Rules Talk Q&A, and I thank you for watching.